Hey guys, it's Donnie B, and you're listening to episode 29 of Eat It Up, Buffalo Wheat's own podcast and a very proud member of Audio Buffalo. Today on the show we have Chef Edward Forster, who is the head chef at Mike A's at the Lafayette, one of Buffalo's newest restaurants, probably Buffalo's hottest restaurant right now. And, you know, we recently were there, I think 2 months ago, and had a tasting menu of what they're serving, and it was maybe the best meal I've ever had in Buffalo. Just fantastic execution, really creative plates, and they're just doing awesome things in a gorgeous building. So I've wanted to have Ed down here for a while to talk about what it's like coming back to Buffalo, where he's worked before, even just general topics of the chef industry as far as culinary schools and things like that go. So it was a really cool conversation. I was very glad he came down here because I really respect what he's doing over there. So hope you guys enjoy the podcast, and if you haven't, get your ass down to Mike A's. It is ridiculous. I actually had a request to ask you a question, and I wanted to ask you this as we started this.
Nice.
I was supposed to ask you what is so great about Joy Division.
I'm sure the owner, Chef Mike, probably put that up. Yeah, but I don't know. I just really got into, I don't know. I guess they were, in my mind, one of the first cool kind of punkish bands, and just watching their sound kind of evolve through their 3 records, and the whole story, the whole idea. The dude just has a real strong, meter to his words, and just that little dance where you just walk in place, and it's awkward as shit, and you can just dance like nobody's watching, because that's all I really want to do is stand in a corner and dance like nobody's watching.
I thought the one thing was that he used to have epileptic seizures, and people thought he was dancing, but he was actually having a seizure on stage.
It's also another great dance move, the epilepsy.
Yeah, I love Joy Division's, I guess you could say, their image, and the whole mystique about them, probably more than actually listening to their music.
That's fair,
and it's such poser thing. I have a Joy Division shirt, and I know Love Will Tear Us Apart, which is everyone knows that song, and Dead Souls and a couple other bigger ones, but I just love the idea of it. But I'd have to say I'm probably a New Order guy.
I'd also I just started. Well, we've been collecting records for 4 years now, which I know
vinyl?
So we're a little late in the game as far as music goes, but
that's still good.
We have 3 New Order records, and I have 3 Joy Division ones, and my brother's girlfriend has all the originals from 1978, so she's always waning at me what's up, poser.
Yours, the reissues?
Yeah, she's what'd you get, the remaster? Oh, cool, good for you. It's
come with the digital download?
Great. You gonna play that on your MP3 player? Listen, it's an iPod, just chillax. Yeah, it's actually her birthday today. I thought we should call her or something.
Maybe, well, you got time.
Yeah,
but when he said that, do you play a lot of Joy Division in the kitchen and stuff?
The kitchen, usually, because I have a short attention span, I just hit shuffle on my iPod, which I'm sure everybody on staff has to fucking hate by now, because my iPod is just this random smattering of George Michael to Every Time I Die, and then back to harder rock, and then old punk, and then random new poppy stuff.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and everybody's just looking at me what is going on here? I was don't shh, just don't ask. It's a very personal one.
Song's ironic, right?
It's me rocking out the ballads. I'm is that Richard Marx? It is, Steve. Thanks for coming in today.
That's awesome.
Mind your knife cuts.
Does Mike give you shit about Joy Division for some reason?
He's not. He we bonded over Iggy Pop.
Okay.
He actually gave me a fist pound, because I was I want to go see Iggy and Morrissey in LA. I've never been to LA, and the Stooges are playing This Is the Only Show. And he's well, I hate Morrissey. I was okay, that's, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah, it's pretty divisive. I can understand it, but at the same point, you're crazy.
The Smiths or Morrissey, you kind of, I don't know, everybody has to like one of them, I think. But
yeah, I agree with that. Are you going to go see Morrissey at UB?
No, we actually got tickets to go see him at the Staples Center in LA.
Jeez.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. It's Iggy Pop and the Stooges. So I've been listening to Iggy Pop all day.
Nice.
With Morrissey. So that'll be...
that is an interesting duo.
It's two huge fucking, ego hounds. You know what I mean? Morrissey with his "Get away from me." And Iggy's "I don't wear a shirt ever." It's all right.
I'm gonna cut myself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, the music in the kitchen, like, we're probably at about 60% as far as our prep time, whether or not we listen to music. It just makes it a lot, like, more relaxed.
Yeah.
And then it also makes it so whoever's getting yelled at that moment can't really be heard by, the three people next to him, which is always good,
You're not singling out someone as much as if it was just dead quiet.
And, like, I'm like, why are you picking cilantro? And the kid just looks at you, you know what I mean? Like, huh? And it's like, yeah, that's cilantro, bud. We use that for staff meal. You're going to want to go ahead and grab parsley. There's the difference. And it's like better if the music's on, because then he doesn't look like an asshole to everyone. It's just whoever's in a short range. And you always have to say it with that wry smile, like, really? Like, okay. Huh. I need to go over this again? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I don't know. For me, that's been like a lot of fun about being home is working with different personalities and kind of learning how to, how to bend with those education levels and stuff like that, so that everybody's super awesome. They want to learn. They're there for the right reasons. Mike Gaze, you're not going to get the kid who just wants to get a job as I just fucking decide to work at Mike Gaze, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I like 13-hour days and little to no positive reinforcement ever. Should hang out and clean the floors for a minute. Yeah, I feel like those kids are there because they want to be there. Yeah. Yeah, we have a good team. Nice. So, I guess I kind of want to start... so you're Buffalo born and raised? North Tonawanda, actually. Nice. Yeah. Nice, man. I was just there this morning. Up there. Remington's over there. Yeah. The Jenkins... and Smoke on the Green River. What is it? Smoke on the Water. Yeah, Smoke on the Water. Yeah. Yeah, we just went there a couple days ago, actually. Nice. Yeah. Green River's a soda from... like Iowa or something. It's amazing. Yeah. It's awesome. If you ever see it anywhere, you should get it. All right. Anyway. So, how did you get your start in the restaurant world? Oddly enough, my twin brother was working at Tantera Golf Club as a dishwasher. Okay. And he was too delicate, so his fingers literally started peeling off from the soap on the pot sink. So he was quitting, and so they're like, "Do you want the gig?" And I was like, "All right." Like, I thought you were gonna say like that you just swapped in for him. I pretty much did. Like his last day was my training day, and he's like, "Yeah, there's dishes. I think they want you to make them clean. They make you chicken fingers, and you just hang out." I was like, "All right, I'm in." It sounds like a Game 10. I'll have those chicken fingers medium, please. And so, it was basically just like me hanging out, washing dishes, like talking to people, getting into the lifestyle, and like listening to music and whatever. And then one day, just like everybody else does, like they looked at the bullpen, they're like, "Lefty, you're in." It's like, "All right, good luck, thanks. Here's a knife. Which side do I use?" I can only imagine how horrible I was as an employee. Like if you could see yourself? Like Scott, my left hand, and I like remind each other every day. It's like, imagine what we were like at Tantera when I was like 16. Like, good God, all the horrible, horrible things that I say during my day normally, and most of it's for my own amusement. Like, to look back at myself then and just be like, wow, I would have murdered me if you were your boss. Oh God, yeah. So I was at Tantera, and then like just started cooking, and then I really liked it. I was actually like, for some reason they let me like cook protein, which was probably like cook meat. Yeah. They let me like come up with specials and shit like that, and I was just like, how old were you at this point? Like, I was still in high school, so I was 18 by the time that I was like full on like there every day, and I remember I skipped my senior year of pole vaulting to continue working. You were a pole vaulter? Yeah. I think I was pretty good. Nice. I mean, I only almost broke a rib like 7 times, but apparently you're supposed to land on the mat. I did that a few times. Nice. But, yeah. It sounds like, it's just, I don't know why. That's the one sport when I watch it, I'm just waiting for the pole to like go through the guy's leg or something. The pole just breaks in half, you land on your back. Like, you're like, oh, that's why it's at 185-pound limit. Maybe I shouldn't be 210. Huh. Yeah. Nice. But yeah, I blew that off and just started cooking, and then it was like, all right, now what? Like, I guess I should go to culinary school? And my dad's like, you should go to culinary school. I was like, no, I shouldn't, but all right. Like, whatever. So, I went to see, I actually went with Scott, who's, again, my left hand at Mike A. Oh, yeah. He and I were roommates.
Really?
in culinary school. So I've known him since I was 16 too.
That's where you met him? Like,
Yeah, well, I met him at Tantera.
Oh, okay. And then, wow.
Yep,
So
and now it was so serendipitous. We both kind of, traveled around, and he was in Miami, New York, and I don't know, Nantucket, and he moved back to Buffalo the same time that I moved back to Rochester.
Oh.
And so I just hollered, and I was like, hey, what's up? Like, we gonna do something or what? And then everything else kind of fell into place, and Mike, opened this place, and
nice.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you were like starting to cook and things like that, were you more interested in the actual job, or did you enjoy like the lifestyle of the?
I think the lifestyle gets you started, but then it's like, wait, this is really cool. Like, it sounds super cheeseball, but like seeing a smile, like making some, like when you're like 17 and making shitty chicken parmesan and being like, it's the greatest thing ever. But actually seeing someone like smile and be like, that is pretty good. Like, thanks, man. Like from a young person to see such an easy way to make someone happy.
Yeah.
And there aren't very many things, like if you're a computer programmer, or if you're a policeman, like you can easily save someone's life, but it's not like, just made my day a little bit better by turning that light red. Thanks, officer. Like, just that's probably a horrible example, but these simple like tactile things of just being able to present a physical product to someone and watching them enjoy it in the moment.
Yeah.
It's like being a winemaker. Like, you still got to wait a year until anybody's even going to crack that stuff open. So
yeah, no, that kind of stuff's crazy. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah.
Like, all I would be thinking about is just like, this is gonna suck. Like, I'm just like worried. I don't know. I like that immediate gratification. I mean, it's taking you a half hour or so to prepare things, but like, you see it like right there.
Yeah. That's what's so cool about the like omakase or sushi style thing, where it's just like, make your thing, do your stuff, be happy, and then you can actually like physically like pass people food over the counter, talk to them about it, craft things. I think that would be an awesome concept for a restaurant, like to cook for like one person a day and just like have your guy that stands across from you and never make money.
The most, economic.
There are no servers. There is no, anything else. There is no menu. Just like, what do you like over there, man? Oh, I like mushrooms. Sweet. Let's do 13 courses of mushrooms. All right, I'm in.
I feel like that kind of stuff happens in like New York City and things like that.
Yeah, it happens in restaurants where a guy owns like a burger restaurant that's incredibly profitable, and he's like, wait, I don't need to make money. Let's do this horrible idea that's going to be the greatest restaurant ever. It'll never make money, but I'll sell enough burgers where it'll be okay.
Yeah.
So that's also going to be my concept, is to open a burger restaurant, so nobody steal that.
And that's never been happening. So, like, did you know that when you got out of high school, like, there's really only one path? Or were you actually thinking about...
No, I mean, like, I was 16 when I made, like, my first meal, and it was for a girl that I was, like, seeing for a long time, and she, like, again, she was, like, super happy, and it was, like, the cutest thing ever, and it was literally boiled, dried pasta. But from then on, I was like, all right, this is, like, something that I like. And I started to get better and better, and I started to try and figure out why things happen more. And like, I can read a recipe. I can mediocrely chop stuff at this point. I can take Knorr's instant chicken stock and whisk it into a gallon of water. But it's like, wait, why does all that happen? Or, like, what else can you do? And the more doors you start to open, the deeper you get into it. And if you're actually into it, it just all day, every day kind of thing. Yeah. It's like, go home and I have my man room where I relieve myself in the morning, and there's like, my art culinaires and like three cookbooks, and everybody has like their little place of solitude, but it's like literally eat, sleep, drink, and think about food. It's I mean, most of the chefs we've had here, like, all they talk about is like, when I go home, then I just go on the internet and read more about food and and drink. most of the people you've had in here that I've met, and I probably had a drink with. Yeah.
So when you went to the CIA, was that like a holy shit, like, this is serious, or were you prepared for that?
I got a lot of good coaching from Dave Stitt at Tantera. He was like a super cool dude. He basically like told us to get as much as you can out of it. that they did a lot of like professional training. Like if you were 5 minutes late, they just sent you home. If you weren't in full uniform, they just sent you home, which was great. I mean, when you woke up at 8 o'clock for an 8 o'clock class and you run without brushing your teeth or combing your hair, they're just going to laugh at you and be like, well, he's in uniform and he smells like shit, but, you know, whatever. Come on in. Like, just like, you know, but the professional training, I think, helped a lot. It was only like a 5-hour work day, and it's culinary school, so you get out of it what you put into it. Yeah. And there was a lot of times where I put a lot into it, and there was a lot of times where I was just like, absolutely not. Like, I'm just not.
You have to learn, I mean, essentially everything.
Yeah, they try to. It's a really, I don't know. Culinary school is a difficult concept because you can do so many different things, obviously, with food and the whole industry. And I think they do a pretty good job of trying to show people an accurate depiction of different avenues that you can take and the expanse of like traditional cuisine, which is what everybody should know how to do. Yeah. You know, I get pissed when like 21-year-old kids are like, tell me how to use tapioca maltodextrin. It's like, first of all, you can't even say that word. Second of all, like, you can't even season food properly. You know, like, please, 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 just focus on like holding that knife like you're not going to drop it on my foot, and we'll get through the day. So
this is a little tangent, but I was like reading an article in Lucky Peach, and it was about like the pros and cons of
culinary school,
essentially. And I talked about this with Jennifer Boy briefly from the Mansion. Like, do you feel like the kids that you have in your kitchen, do they have a certain like swagger out of culinary school, like, or like something where they want to, like, you know, they want to be using the liquid nitrogen or shit like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, but how do I say this? This is, you want people that are young and haven't really had much to fill their pot yet. Okay. So it's like, I'll take a 21-year-old kid that just came out of culinary school that thinks he's going to be open a restaurant. Like, I had somebody tell me in an interview that they're going to open up a restaurant in 5 years. I was like, oh, well, good luck with that, man. Like, I've been doing this for 13, and, you know, I'm nowhere even near knowing all that I have to. But 5, huh? And you haven't even worked in a restaurant yet. Good luck. But I mean, it's difficult when you find like seasoned guys that have done it and don't necessarily know the finer points of the refined ways. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Yeah. And so it's like, I would rather get someone who's 21 and train them that they need to constantly sweep the floor, wipe down their station, be clean, and not, you know, wallow in their swine flu or whatever. But because you can actually, like, you can show people and teach them the right way if there's less in that kind of pot or knowledge or whatever, like that indoctrinated sense that just like, you have to be clean, organized, neat. This is how it's done. This is how you hold a spoon. You use a spoon, first of all. Like, all these, you know, little things that some people do, and at other places you just don't have to, and that's fine. Like, I love simple food and I love simple things like that. But the way that we do things is very different from, you know, the way they do it at Mighty Taco. I saw that sour cream gun yesterday, and I was like, ooh, how do I use that thing? I want that in my kitchen, and I'm just going to go boop, boop, onto, like, everything. Maybe it'll be chopped parsley. I don't know.
You're just trying to think of anything.
That is, like, that's the fun part of food, though. It's just, like, you see something like that. That's how, like, tweezers became all the rage, because, like, somebody, you know, went to their doctor, and they're, like, pulling shit out of their mouth, and it's like, oh, I could use that to pick little pluges of herbs, you know, like, whatever. But, like, you know, we really design dishes. Like, when Chef Mike and I were talking about different dishes and shit that we wanted to do, we got, like, a plate, and then it's like, oh, I want to do this, that, you know, and it's like, certain things dictate. It's not beautiful herbs or, you know, anybody waxing about how, you know, they got the local farmers, you know, beautiful tomatoes. Yes, that happens. Like, we got beautiful tomatoes. We put gazpacho on yesterday. That happened. But, like, your inspirations can come from going to the Albright Knox art gallery. You know, they can happen by clipping your toenails and a piece comes off that's a little brown. You're like, oh, that shouldn't be there. But what can I do with brown today? You know, like, people that tie themselves into, like, you know, doing certain things a certain way, and you can only get inspiration from whatever is just kind of bogus.
Well, it seems like that Mike is about that. It's about taking ideas and twisting them a little bit.
Yeah, we definitely it's challenging in a really fun way. Like, taking an idea that's already existed, people already are familiar with, So you already kind of have some of their trust. Like somebody orders turbo almondine, like they know that there's gonna be almonds, brown butter, haricot vert, and then it's like, okay, well, what can we do with that to make it a little bit more 2009 or whatever?
Yeah.
Not incredibly modern, but how can we modernize it and take away all the antiquated heavy food, which like roux has a time and a place, and it's awesome. It's great. Like on top of a croque madame, it's phenomenal. And during that time period, it totally made sense. It's great. Like that was the style of food. That's what people liked. That was the taste. And now it's just like today in this age, it's just like if somebody actually like was bringing me in a concept for a new dish a long time ago, and they were like, so I was thinking, pork belly with pickles, and I want to do a real decadent sauce, just like a roux. I was like, okay, decadent like a roux? What do you mean, like a roux-based sauce? No. I just want to mix butter and flour and use that as a sauce. And I just looked at him and I was like, I'm walking away now. And just like, who wants to eat flour and butter, dude? Like, you can make bread and flour and water, whatever, but just like the thought of that pasty thing on the top of my palate, I was just like, I am going to leave now. This conversation. I've assessed the situation and I'm leaving.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I mean, at CIA, you start to realize like this is serious shit, and I'm assuming then you started to look into.
CIA was kind of fun because I had a little bit of foreign language experience. Okay. So for my externship, where they send you to a restaurant and hope that you don't cut your hand off for like 6 months, I was like, I want to get out of the country. Like everybody's like, I want to go make money. I want to go to some place hot or warm. I was like, F it. I'm going to a big city. I'm going to go learn as much as I can. So I did my externship in London, and it was with John George, and it was like just me. I had no friends. Like I wasn't living with mom and dad. I didn't have my cousin. I didn't have anybody's car. And I had like this dumpy, apartment that had, how you put a quarter in a gumball machine, the gumball comes out?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I paid my electricity. With a 50p piece. It was asinine, and when I would run out of electricity, all the electricity would just shut off. So I had a few times where I like overslept and my alarm didn't go off because it was unplugged because my electricity went out. That was horrible. But I was just like, I'm here. I have nothing else to do. Like I am probably 19 or 20 at that time, so I can drink in this country legally.
Yeah.
So on that day off that I took, but it was just I kind of look back and I'm kind of surprised that I did this, but I would go in at 9 o'clock and work till 1, 6 days a week, and I'd be scheduled for 5, and eventually, I keep trying to do the Napoleon thing. It's just like, Poland, I'm bigger than you. Let's do this, and it's just like, boom, ratified. I'm on the hot apps now, and like, no, I kind of, that competition factor of like always watching like what your surrounding people are doing, and learning their prep and their dishes from them just by proximity, and then next thing you know, like, boom, you're on that station.
Wow.
And I think a lot of people miss that competitive thing because it's like, we're talking about that at work all the time. It's just like, I don't put you on another station and you don't learn it. I don't give you a week to learn and train. Like, you're next to this guy every day. Just set up your cutting board. Just watch him. Don't even talk. Like, don't even bullshit about, like, what color underwear, so-and-so's wearing. It's just like, dude, just shut up. Watch what he does. And if you want to be on that station and you want to learn that, all you have to do is watch and pay attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would do that. And then they were super cool for some reason and let me kept doing other stuff. And again, I had no business touching protein and like being on the hotline, but they kept letting me do it towards the end. And it was a really unique place because I got to do stages around London and go hang out, and it was like my day off, and for some reason my chef de cuisine actually liked me, so he's like, oh, this is my friend so and so. We'd go out and have a pint, and then next week I'd be in their kitchen on my day off, and and
that's insane, man.
Yeah, something like 18 days in a row. My ankles from my shitty Birkenstock, they weren't the kitchen Birkie, the super Birkie. I got those boots that everybody had. I had the ankle version. They were horrible and heinous looking. But I was wearing those for a long time and a lot of days in a row until my ankles tripled in size. And so my guy at the end of the shift, when he saw that I couldn't walk, gave me an asparagus box full of ice and a 6-pack of beer. And I was like, okay, well, what do I what am I? He's like, just put your ankle in ice, put the 2 beers across it like an X marks the spot. That'll keep the top cold. I was like, well, what do I do with the other 4 beers? He's like, you know exactly what to do with the other 4 beers. I was like, okay, touche. Thanks.
That's awesome.
He was a good guy.
Nice. So so you come back from that experience.
I came back from that, and that's actually how I met Chef Mike. I was like 20 years old, and they gave us like 2 weeks for vacation or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, what am I supposed to do for 2 weeks? Like, all my friends are at actual college. I'm at culinary school, like making meringue and shit. So,
actual college.
Yeah. So I come back, and I have no friends and no social life. So I was like, fuck it. So I called. My mom showed me a newspaper article with Mike at Tsunami, and then she's like, oh, he's doing Thai French just like at Vong. I was like, okay, thanks, mom voice. Like, high and shrill. Yeah, she's super cute. But so she actually shows me this thing. I just holler at Chef Mike, and I'm like, hey, can I come, mouth breathe all over your kitchen and just cut some stuff and get in your way? He's like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I was like, awesome. So I came out, and again, he let me butcher some fish and, just hang out and make dumplings and just eat all the time. And it was a really cool experience. And to see that here at home, I was like, that's proper.
Yeah. I never had a chance to go there because it closed before I started to actually care about food. but everything I ever heard, it just sounded like it was a really cool place.
It was just so much fun for what it was. It was a place that you wanted to go and hang out. It wasn't stoic or stuffy. It wasn't, I don't know, big ugly booths like at a lot of the the nice restaurants in towns everywhere are always kind of a little starchy, but he'd have a jazz guy in the corner on Mondays, and he'd be rolling sushi on Mondays, and it was just chill, put this in your mouth, shut up, try that, be cool. And there was something so affable and likable about a dude who's just sitting there doing what he loves to do and just being try this, it's Mike's Monday,
That's awesome.
For the alliteration. But
so did you bounce around? I mean, you go back to school and everything.
God!
But I'm assuming I read a little bit about your interview on Buffalo Spree, and I saw that you made your rounds.
Well, I was back here in Buffalo after I graduated, and I worked at Oliver's for a year.
Oh, okay.
And then I was going to Niagara University. You have to. Henry's just you like to cook? Come on down. You're but I like to make hamburgers. He's shh, just follow me. All right, whatever. But yeah, so I was working at Oliver's, and I did a solid year there with Chris Stegler.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. Again, super trusting, nice guy. Learned a lot and got to see a lot of really nice ingredients in food when I was 21. But then I was I was going to Niagara University full time. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I was studying restaurant management and French.
Oh, okay.
And so on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would go to school from 7 a.m. to 6 at night because I didn't want to be there. Yeah. So I'd do it as quickly as possible. All my people were like, "Oh, you're taking 3 more classes than you're supposed to." I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to be here. Let's make this happen." So
it just goes fast.
Yeah. And then so the other 5 days, I was at Oliver's working 50 hours a week or whatever and having a blast. But then, there got to be a point where I was like, wait, I don't take days off. I'm in a school that they're, making me take English 100, which just blows. Because, I'm with a whole bunch of kids that smell bad and, wear sweatpants as a hobby. Just, in this class. And I'm like, oh, my God. Why am I? So I was F that. And sent my resume out to, I think it was Michel Richard Citronelle in D.C., Charlie Trotter was supposed to open up a place in New York City at the time that was going to be seafood based, and George Perrier. So I sent out those 3 resumes. I got a call back from Michel Richard a week after I got a call back from George Perrier, and then I got a letter from Charlie Trotter saying we're not currently hiring for that restaurant. If you want to come and hang out and check out Charlie's and Trotter's in Chicago. We'd love to have you. And I was like, Chicago sucks. Fuck that. So, which we'll get there.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
I feel like that changed.
Well, it was the weirdest, nicest thing. So this dude in Philly, George Perrier and Chris Garduzio, they paid for me to, I think I flew or took a train. I don't know. I got there. I don't remember how. But they paid for me to come down, do a stage for 2 days, like made me go sit in the dining room and like eat their food at 9 o'clock. So I was like, wearing like a button up. At least I don't look like a homeless person. Like in this like super nice restaurant.
Yeah.
And they put me up in a hotel, and I was just like, that place is great. Like the kitchen's like huge and kind of hardcore. Like everybody's pushing. There's people butchering and like actually touching food. So I signed on and worked there for 2 years in Philly, and 1 year after that, I moved to Atlantic City to help him do another spot. Wow. And it was just like, Atlantic City was great. Like, it was by the beach, so I would wake up, take, my brother's annoying little dog down to the beach, and we'd play home run derby, and you got an extra 50 runs if you knocked an old man off his bicycle. And then I'd go and spend my evenings, which that happened, by the way. Yeah, I see you laughing. And I did get an extra 50. But like, we had a lot of freedom there because our costs were different and whatever else, so we would just get whole animals. And I had never really, I can do little things and primals, but I was like, all right, let's do this. Like, and I'm like wiggling, our other sous chef's arm to see what his shoulder joint looks like. I was like, so you cut it here? And he's like, stop referencing on me where you're going to cut with a knife. I was like, all right. So yeah, he was just like, we had a really cool team there of like, the executive chef, myself, and the other sous chef that would just like learn and push every day. And it was a really fun, formative time to like learn about flavors, learn about new techniques, and just old traditional butchery and how to do it without fucking up a $200 pig,
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, when we were getting like 5 pigs a week for like a little Italian restaurant, and most of it was like kind of roasted and shredded for this or that, but we were actually making like pasta in house. Wow. And even though it was some little Vietnamese lady that just like, go away, I was like, listen lady, you're gonna be cool. And then she'd just laugh and give me a kiss and make me a spring roll. But like, it was just all these cool unique cultures and blends of people that just kind of can't come together in these restaurants. And there should be that learning, fostering kind of thing. It's not like I'm the only one that's ever made gnocchi, you can't have my recipe. It's like, dude, F off. Like, you got that from somebody else too. Like,
it does seem like that way of thinking is starting to go away. I mean, at least I've seen it, like, talking to people in Buffalo, like, they want to just raise the game in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Like when I talk to James, like Roberts, like, he wants just to make everyone else better, and he'll like, I'll tell you how I made this, but it doesn't matter because I'm still going to make it awesome.
Yep. Like, he and I were talking, it's like, we're not selling the same thing. We're not, nobody's going to be like, oh, should I go to Park Country Club? Should I go to Bistro Europa? Should I go to Oliver's? Or should I go to Mike A's? Or, like, they're all such different products, and there's plenty of pie, there's lots of cherry pie out there. I mean, it's cherry season, like, let's start picking. But we have all these conversations, and it's just like, I want food to be better. Yeah. Like, I don't care if it's Buffalo, North Tonawanda, whatever. Like, I'll hand out recipes, show people how to do shit, because honestly, I'm probably going to move on and get bored with it and have something different in a month anyway. Yeah. But, if all you can really do is copy and imitate, then you're not. Yeah, exactly. You're not cooking anyway. But, just the open book kind of thing, like Steve from Europa, and same thing. Like James, before we even opened, before I even met him, was sending us down 500 grams of like different shit that I didn't have. And Mike was like, oh, just call James at Park. I was like, I've never talked to him, and I'm going to call him and ask him for 500 grams of this. That's about $28. All right. And he comes by with a little white bag. He just drops it on the counter, does the wink like, here's your stuff, man. And I'm like, whoa, can we do this on the counter here, or should we go somewhere else?
That's great.
But yeah, that whole idea of like showing, growing, and developing really has to like get a little stronger. And I tell people all the time, it's like, I invite you, come down, I'll show you what we do. You can write down the recipes. I don't give a shit. Yeah. Like, if you want to, have me yell at you at how to cook fish for 12 minutes, that's fine too. But at least then you know what we're doing. So
speaking of cooking fish, I saw in that interview that you had a position. I think we're skipping ahead. Yeah, that's literally that. It's just a fish cook.
Well, there's the old school brigade system that usually has like 28 guys in it.
Oh,
So, there's chef de cuisine, chef de rang, like commis, like all these different titles. And then even in there, it's just like, well, you're the fish guy. You're the, and actually in Philly, I was the fish guy as well as in Chicago. It's just like, I prefer to cook fish. It's way more delicate. It takes way more like attention. Like, not to say you can fuck up meat, but when people take their tongs and push on that shit, like they're gonna get backhanded. But you can kind of be a little rougher with meat. Yeah. Like fish, you have to be a little lighter on your toes. Wear a little light skirt, and actually talk to it. Like the old David Boulay thing, where it's just like. He won't send a plate of food out, and he'll just be sitting there like yelling at you and telling you to like listen to the fish. The fish will tell you what to do. The fish guides this. It's just like, dude, put your wiener away and stop stroking yourself. I get it. It's awkward now though because you're kind of small and whatever. He's not. I've never actually seen his member, but
that's good to know.
Yeah, but yeah, fish cooking I think is where we started. I was the fish guy, and basically what I would do is I would come in, help we had 2 Mexican ladies, which again were like hilarious, and I think they threatened to cut me in a few different languages like 5 different times with these tiny little knives, and I was like, but I would come in, like help butcher some fish, portion some fish, make sauces and garnishes, and then just get all night long, just get hammered, like go home stinking of fish. And like if I had like a girlfriend or a friend or anybody in my life that wanted to talk to me after work, they'd be like, yeah, you're gonna go ahead and shower before we go out in public anywhere. Yeah, like why do you just wear fish skin right now? I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, and then when I moved to Chicago, I had this great interview with Graham Elliott that I actually kind of got hooked up with from a friend of a friend that has Ulterior Epicure. It's another big blog.
Yeah, that thing's amazing.
Yeah, his pictures are great. He's like the nicest guy, and he's like huge now.
Yeah. He's a friend of yours?
Well, he's he's my sister-in-law's brother-in-law.
Wow.
So I did like a dinner in Rochester for my sister at my sister's house for like 12 random people, and like it was all just family. Yeah. And like a couple of professors and friends and stuff. And Ban Yen, who's Ban Zhuang's sister, passed along the menu, and then like basically like Ban Zhuang just forwarded it, said like, hey, this looks really cool, looks like something you would do, and I hear he submitted a resume yesterday. I was like, oh, good timing. So yeah, I had this great interview with Graham Elliott, and like, we're both talking about cooking fish basically, and how we, there's meat guys, there's roasting guys, there's sauce guys. Like the fish guy's always the one that like can probably do like 13 things at a time, actually pay attention and just be like, shh, 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 it's all going to be okay. We'll get through this, And that has nothing to do with fish, usually not selling half as much as meat, but it's also a more a moment, like at the time kind of thing. Like you can't roast fish and then just be like, yeah, I'll just set it over there on the counter for 10 minutes, it'll be fine. Or cook it. You can't roast beef and then slice off of it. Yeah. Well, you can. I guess that was the analogy. But yeah, I had this great interview with him, and like that's how I finally was just like, that was one of the most miserable kitchens that was amazing to work in. It's this beautiful like jade, like he's got this picture on Graham Elliott of him on his jade range, like just leg up, like laying across it like it's a sofa, and it's just adorably awkward. But like we used to joke, like Elliot used to say, like, I would never fucking want to work in this kitchen. It's miserable. Like it's one dude. I did fish. Well, I did everything, but like I started doing fish, and we were doing like 250 people with like these dishes that had like 6 components on, which is a lot for that many covers. And there was me on fish and one guy on meat. We'd cooked our proteins and did our garnishes, and that was it. Like there was no one behind you to help, and there's no room for anybody else, and like, but it was this beautiful marble topped kitchen with like Paco jets, and that's the first time I met Paco, and he's like the coolest dude ever. And like we had all this beautiful equipment, but it was just grueling, churning out like those numbers. And I started rising through the ranks, and it's like I see why we we go through so many people.
Like and Elliot's there's a crazy turnover, like. Or not, well,
yeah, it was great. Like, people just couldn't... You had to be, like, one of the most mentally organized. Like, same thing at Blackbird. Like, the amount of shit and timing and everything... Like, you have to be the most mentally organized, like, sharp dude and care. And if you fuck up something, like... you fuck up the entire restaurant because it's just like you lose one table and then that sets you 8 minutes back, which sets the entire dining room back, which means you're putting everything out, and then you just F the entree guys and they're all looking at you like, I'm bigger, more advanced than you, and I am going to grill you tonight on this wood-fired grill. It's like, all right, cool.
I mean, was like the atmosphere as far as like intense, like, it
was great
because like when you said that it was like a horrible kitchen, like when we had I feel like I'm just fucking name dropping people. We had Ross Morrell down there. He talked about when he worked at Alinea, and he said that it was like the most amazing kitchen, like in terms of technology and things. But it was the worst experience I ever had because it was just like
miserable.
Yeah, like everyone was silent. Did not look at people, like, and just was so horrified. Like,
there's just a little guy in the corner with a whip, and if you look up or say a word, he just whips you. You're like, why? Ow. Like, don't say ow again, motherfucker, I'll whip you again. You're like, ow.
It wasn't like that?
No, well, we would, one of my favorite memories from working there is, like, on a Saturday night, Elliot's like, what do you need? What can I help you? And I, like, looked up and said something. He's like, what? I said it again. He's like, I'm sorry, man, I have no idea what you just said. And he's like literally 3 feet away. I said, oh, Madonna's on. Do you mind turning that shit up? And he's like, you're awesome. And just fucking blaring like a virgin through the entire kitchen. Everybody's just like, fuck it. I got 9 lamb coming. No big deal. Let's do this. Like a virgin.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, like staging at Alinea, it was so intense, which is awesome. And it's
you
everything
there as well?
Yeah, I was there for like a minute. But it was super intense. It's beautiful. It's everything a young cook should do to learn like how to fold a towel.
Yeah.
But like you have to commit to doing like a year at these places. Like people go there and they're just like want to put it on their resume, so they go there, they last 3 months, and then it's like, you didn't do dick there, dude. Like they didn't even let you wrap the herbs after being there for 3 months. Like, I just remember like one of the sous chefs getting yelled at because he let me touch protein. I was like helping him break down short ribs or something like that. And he came over and he's like, who did this one? And he's like, oh, I don't know, chef. Like, he and I are doing them. He's like, well, they look fine, but why the fuck does he have a knife in his hand? And I was just like, is he talking about, like, I'm looking at everybody else like, is he yelling at me right now? Or what's... And yeah, basically I got expelled to the dungeon for having, like, touched meat. And the dude was just like, I'm sorry, like... He mentioned it, like, I know, like, you were doing fine, like, you didn't fuck anything up. I was like, okay, thank you, I'll go back to cleaning the sink now. Like, but there, yeah. And it's just like, if you look up and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, it's just like, fuck it, grab a broom, dude. Like, stay busy, because you're going to get yelled at. And that dude had cancer, and he's still here for 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like, every day, just staring at you like, I outwork you every minute of my life. But, like, you see all these people that just work their asses off, and it's kind of like... It's intimidating as shit. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, I'm tired and I've been here for 14 hours. And it's like, oh, wait, that guy got here at 8 and he's going to stay here 2 hours after you. Shut up and, like, finish up. And that's what I think a lot of people miss. It's just like, it's been 8 hours, chef. Can I go home? I'm like, oh, of course you can. Run home as fast as you can, Charlie. Don't stop for anybody. You got the golden ticket. Get the fuck out and don't come back. Like, I mean, the job sucks. Everybody does it for their own reasons. Some people do it because they're, they like the industry. Some people do it because they like the lifestyle. Some people love food, and those are the people that we want to have around. So, nice. If you love food and actually want to keep doing it, give me a holler.
maybe you'll get some increase.
Yeah.
So did you end up enjoying Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago is great. Like, I just went back, like, I think a week and a half ago. I mean, thank God Chef Mike opened a taqueria because I, like, need tacos at all times. And, like, the first thing, we landed literally in Chicago, got a car, drove into the city, and, like, stopped right in front of Paul Cahan's taco place, Big Star.
I was just going to say Big Star.
Yeah.
I've only heard insane things about Big Star.
Yeah, Chef Mike actually went and staged at Big Star.
Really?
He's like, yeah, they have a walk-in of meat, and it's all gone every day. I was like, yep, this is ridiculous.
I'm going to Chicago in 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, and I was gonna hit you up for some recommendations.
Yeah, there's... Over. Yeah.
There's
a lot of good places.
Big Star is, like, the number one.
Yeah, we went and did comfort food. Like, it was just like, I tried to go to the Aviary, the cocktail place by Grand Hackett's. Yeah. And I was just like, I'm fucking tired. And, like, we slept 3 hours in 4 days. F it, let's just go to Kuma's Corner. And Kuma's Corner is the greatest place on earth. I have a belt buckle from there, and I wear it when I sleep because it's like a wrestling belt, and it's awesome.
That's awesome.
But it's this burger place that does 10-ounce burgers.
Yeah.
And they play metal music and stream like old kung fu movies and just have like pin up weird girls on the wall and like craft beer.
Wow.
And there's like emo dye on the walls and shit like that. It's just like so random and awkward. And like I really feel like a waitress is gonna punch you in the nose if you order something like with a substitution. So I'm just like, can I please have that with a fried egg on it? And she just looks at you like, you can have anything you want with a fried egg, and then just turns and walks away. I was like, all right, so apparently that's a good thing here. All right, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it's intense. But yeah, I love Chicago, so yeah. I think that was the question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just said your initial reaction was, no, I hate Chicago. But.
Well, it was a very kick-ass town for great food, and it teaches you so much. You just really need, like culinary school, like you need to invest in it. You can't just bullshit your way through it and show up every day and say that's good enough.
So when you left from like Chicago to come back to Buffalo, like how much of, I mean, I'm assuming it was from Mike A's.
Well, I moved back because I'm from here, and I wanted to open a restaurant. I saw that there was opportunity, so I lived in Rochester for 9 months.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought, like Rochester, like I've literally never heard of a good restaurant there, so let's go check that out. I was like, I'll compete against Dinosaur Barbecue. But we were there, and like they had a lot of really cool stuff. But then Mike brought this opportunity, and Melanie, my girlfriend, and I just looked at each other. And I was like, oh, okay, well, like, we saw the space, walked around, and then he said something like, so, do you want to come out? I was like, I looked at Melanie as soon as we got outside, and she's like, so, I was like, kind of have to. She's like, yep. I was like, sweet. We high-fived. I got in the car and, thought about having a wank right there in the parking lot. I was so excited, but...
I mean, he's probably the area's most popular. I mean, he's like a James Beard nominated chef.
Yeah, right.
And I feel like that opportunity to work at what he's like, the finest cuisine that he wants to put out, and at this insane location that's like should be like registered like under some like national.
I think it is actually. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. That's why I'm not allowed to put a fucking nail on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's like a very good scenario to come around. And also, it's Buffalo, so you can live here for $500 a month as opposed to Chicago.
It's a great time to be here too, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, the last 2 years have been a crazy upswing.
Yeah.
Like, so when you're out in Chicago, were you like kind of paying attention to what was coming on?
I was. Here? Yeah, I mean, I was definitely still checking out food. I always just kind of check out other people's menus, see what's going on in the culture and the scene. And it's like I would check out Oliver's and the Rue Franklin, like all the stalwarts of like Buffalo. And then I started to see like a slight shift, a little bit of a nudge, and I still knew Chris Dagler, and I was talking to him for a while, and it's just like checking out what Mike's doing, and I was like, oh, like you guys have an awesome blog. James has got his thing at Park, and like Steve was number 2 restaurant in Buffalo, and like all these like really cool things, and it's like all young people, you know what I mean? It's like new blood. It's not like Dee Dee and Joel at Rue Franklin had the most beautiful patio and like an awesome cute like the quintessential like little bistro restaurant that you want to own. And it's like once Corey like was able to take over and start doing his thing, it's just like all these places are getting, there's nothing wrong with being old or whatever,
no.
But all these places are getting a little bit more of an update and a facelift, and
it's a good thing.
It's a good thing for everybody. Like it's a good thing for food in the area, and like I said, I think I have a short attention span, so it's good to see things changing and moving, because you can do meat on a plate at the Chop House, and that's from what I understand, it's really good there. But to have something that's a little bit more fresh and unique that you can't go and get anywhere else is pretty good.
So what was it like jumping into this kitchen like literally from the start?
It was the coolest experience ever. I mean, being in C-Bar and having like the nicest team in the world, just constantly like always having me always be in their way, like 7:30 on a Friday. I'm like, hey guys, I need a blanching pot, and you have like 300 covers, so I'm gonna go ahead and use one of your burners. And they would just snarl and be like, of course, no problem. Like they were the nicest guys ever. But like playing in that kitchen and like having Mike A to bring and be like, try this, what do you think? And he's like, that's okay. That could use, like just constantly bouncing ideas off each other. With him, it's just like, all right, like that ain't that bad. And
nice.
And it was, like unpacking the smallwares for any new restaurant is like fucking Christmas. Like,
Oh,
if you
like
don't
opening up all the new toys and everything.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my god, I got a Vita Prep, and you're like showing people. You know what I mean? It's like you want to take pictures.
Throw it on Twitter.
Yeah, you want to fall asleep with it underneath a tree, and it's so awkward because it's a blender. But
that's awesome.
Just being 2 months before the project even opened was really cool.
Nice.
It's the first time that, it's good to have that actual investment monetarily and emotionally and everything else to have the time to research it, to do it right.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that, we were able to do that and fortunate enough. Like he has 2 awesome restaurants and now we have Mike A, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah, I will say that press meal that I got invited to was no joke,
sweaty.
like the best meal I've had in Buffalo, like since we've been doing this. It was ridiculous.
Awesome. Yeah, I have a horrible memory, but like I think you guys had like 10 courses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tony did beverage pairings, which were like sick, and I was like, hey, what are you doing for this, by the way? And he's like, oh, like throw together some of this, that. I was like, whatever, just tell me what you need to type up. Fucking guy, like, oh, I got 13 Amaros in this one. I'm like, god damn it, man, can't remember this shit. Can't even remember the word Amaro. His drinks are amazing, and he did some really cool beverage pairings that night.
Yeah.
But that night in particular, it's just so fun to have captive people that are into food.
Yeah.
And like it's like being 16 again when you bring something out, and you see like the food reviewer for the Buffalo News like, yeah, I'll go ahead and eat the rest of your steak if you don't want it. That's cool. What I mean? Like eating off someone else's plate. I was like, awesome.
Yeah, or look at our table and see like 6 people with cameras like really excited to take pictures because we're such losers. Like 3 of us have like SLRs that were like,
I'm going to dinner. Who has the tripod?
Yeah. Oh, which lens should I bring? Yeah, it's a little embarrassing.
You had some great photos of the hotel too that night. I remember seeing them a couple days after.
Yeah, we lucked out with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you said you have a kind of a short attention span. I mean, the menu hasn't really changed too much since you opened.
No.
Is that I'm assuming that's going to be pretty standard for the first?
Well, we just changed something yesterday. I put on 2 new desserts. We had like a world-class chocolatier dude that's been on like the Food Network and everything else, like help us out with all the pastry stuff to open. And now it's like, okay, well, we need to, he did like 4 desserts, which is what Chef Mike wanted, and they were awesome. And now we're like, well, apricots are in season, so we have like a warm apricot cobbler. We, like, it's fun to do dessert things, and it shouldn't be intimidating because it's like it's the same cooking stuff, only like sugar. Like, don't be weird, dude. It still needs acid and sweetness and crunch, and but I mean, we look at certain things, and it's just like I'm bored with that, or we need to do this because it's summer and tomatoes are nice, and I was trying to talk to him about like, do you think gooey duck would fly in Buffalo? And like just random things. Like we can do some really cool things with food, and we can do it again under the guise of being classic and all that stuff, and how to surprise people and have fun with it. But it's like, is octopus weird? And he's like, no, octopus is fine. I'm like, great, green light. So it's again, like the limits of trying to base everything off a classic is. It's challenging, but it's fun challenging. Yeah. Like, you don't even have to think of, fun flavor combos. We do that when we do menu additions, but, and it's not a special. Meatloaf's a special. I hate when people say special. You know what I mean? Like, the special tonight will be meatloaf with mediocre garlic mashed potatoes. It's like, oh, awesome.
That's very special.
Yeah. Sweet. Is it on a blue plate? No? You just say that? All right. Yeah. But yeah, we're just changing things whenever we kind of want, and Chef Mike's like getting into the pastry world and like playing with like white chocolate the other day and exploded all over his face and in his goatee, which from what I understand was hilarious. You should have him tell that story. But yeah, just we can kind of change anything whenever we want, so it's a great feeling.
You're not like stuck on like.
No, like again, something like Graham Elliott used to talk about is like having staples, like things that you're known for.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, good, that's what everybody wants to be the staple. Guess what's coming off tomorrow? Like, don't get comfortable. Like, you need to kind of keep pushing and challenging yourself. So, I mean, that onion soup, we have an onion soup croquette that, like, when you...
It's getting...
Yeah.
I mean, that was the first thing that Ellie wanted to try. And I mean, it's a cool idea. Like, it's French onion soup, but not, like, how every other French onion soup is in Buffalo.
So it's like, bread and deep fried, and when you cut into it, it's kind of like molten. But so that, Mike looked at me the other day. He's like, looks like that's going to be our signature. 12 people came in and 9 of them ordered. And I was like, F balls, dude. Like, I don't even have room in the deep fryer for that.
That's going to be your beef on wax sushi.
Yeah, and that's what he said. He's like, well, just found that. And I was like, but like, in all honesty, like, can probably change that up. Like, there's no need to cling to it like it's the holy grail, Jesus' cup can go to someone else with an onion soup fetish, whatever.
Yeah. So, what are you looking forward to as this, the restaurant becomes, because I feel like everything's still new. Like, you're going to get people for foreseeably the next couple months, all of them, like, first time, like, I've heard about this, I want to go. Like, what are you looking forward to as you guys kind of get into your...
like, we always say, like, there's never any problems in a busy restaurant. So it's like when we can't even look up and like see what time it is, I just really look forward to like that disgusting back sweat feeling, where there's like a small pool and your jacket starts to pull. But no, like when new food comes into town, and Krista from Spree like has like the farm tours and stuff like that, like really getting to know Buffalo a little bit more.
Yeah, okay.
I don't even know the streets like 3 blocks away from where I live right now. So somebody's like, "Oh, it's over there near Ferry." I was like, "Is that a street or a neighborhood?" And they're like, "God damn it, you grew up here." I'm like, Utica?
Don't you have an iPhone?
Yeah, I was exactly like, I don't need to know this shit. That's what Google's for. It's my brother's favorite acronym, TWGF. That's what Google's for, man. I'm like, all right.
I'm going to use that now.
Yeah. We'll have that be a catchphrase.
But no, I'm looking forward to seeing like this just catch on and keep going, because the food you guys are doing is ridiculous.
Thanks.
That steak was...
Yeah. That's really good beef. It's hard to fuck that out. You know what I mean? Just like make good mashed potatoes and put salt on it.
Yeah, it's not that hard, but just the fact that you guys are even offering that is awesome. That there's a place that's not afraid. That's not going to have the thing where everyone's like, no, Buffalo can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you guys are purposely trying to be like, everything that, like, they say, like, no, Buffalo can't have, like, a really fine night. We need, like, pub food and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can do a wedge salad.
1,000 pub food restaurants. Yeah.
Well, no, it's a lot of fun for us, and, going through, again, like, the menu development process, it was so unique and cool for it to be like, well, like, that duck is the best duck that we can get, and that's what we're going to put on the menu. I was like, oh, is it too expensive? He's like, we can charge what we have to. I was like, great. Like, there's no upper limit. I can just, all right, caviar service. Let's do this, like, but that was the idea from the beginning. Like, get the best shit we can do it the best that we can, and we'll figure the rest out later. And it's been pretty relaxingly awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, Ed, thank you so much for coming down here, man. This is a fun talk. I'm glad I'm glad I got to know a little bit of...
I like the basement. It's good stuff. You guys should check it out.
Yeah, anyone who's listening to this, do not be afraid if I email you and ask you to come into my basement. All right, Ed. Well, thank you again, man.
Thanks.